What's going on, everybody? So today I'm in my friend Jake's 2015 Duramax Denali. It's got quite a bit done to it, so I have him in the truck with me, and he's just riding along and he's going to kind of talk about it. With my camera setup, it was hard to get both of us, but the GoPro will probably have some of us in it. So I'm just going to kind of talk to him about it. He's going to talk about the truck, and then I'm going to kind of say my thoughts on it while I'm driving it. So I guess go ahead and give the rundown of the mods that are on it.
Alrighty, so if y'all didn't know, I'm Jake. And it's like he was saying, it's a 2015 GMC Sierra Denali. It's got the 6.6 Duramax in it. It was tuned up to about 600 horsepower with a little bit over 900 pound-feet of torque. Most of the driving I do is in the city, and that was a little bit much for driving in the city, so I took it back down to the stock tuning. I still have the old package for it, so if I want to, I can put that back on it. But all the mods were done by a company called ALC, American Luxury Coach, and they're based out of North Carolina. I think based out of North Carolina at least. Wherever they are.
Somebody will correct us.
Yeah, somebody will let us know.
Yeah.
And they did a package, it's called their Z92 package. It's a, I think they do about 100 of them a year. I might be wrong on that number, but they don't do a bunch of them. And it has a custom 4-inch FabTech lift. It's got body color fender flares on it. It's got dual 4-inch exhaust coming out the back. That comes off right off the def tank muffler system, so it's not deleted. I added, which you probably just heard, a custom mounted Escort Max 360 up tucked in with the controls under the steering wheel, so if you get pulled over, all you have to do is pull it off and the cop's not going to see any of the installed gear.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's got a swapped with the stock Bose subwoofer to a JL Audio subwoofer in it.
And these from, like, Donnie's truck is just like factory sound system in it. It's not bad out of the box.
No, it's not bad at all.
So,
you won't notice much of a difference between the Bose sub and the JL sub. It's just a small little tweak, and it gets a little bit more of that low end bass.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's always nice.
Yeah, coming
just
from
helps the sound out.
Yeah, coming from my other truck with dual 10-inch subs in the back of it,
yeah,
I needed a little something extra, but not enough where I'm gonna rattle the door panels off.
Yeah, no, and one thing about these that I really like, that I've noticed, is how quiet they are on the inside. Like you said, this is lifted, and what's the tire size on it?
It's got 35 by 12.5s.
Okay, so like, it's got a good amount of tire and tread on it, and it's not like overly noisy on the inside. Like your last truck, I remember on the highway, which I'm sure it'll ramp up if we were on the highway, the noise. But your last truck, I remember it just was like super loud.
Oh yeah, it whistled going down the highway. And while this one does have its fair bit of noise, GM did a very good job at keeping the noise level down and really sealing the truck.
Yeah, and it, you know, it's one of those things that you notice and it goes a long way, their efforts, but it's just so much nicer too than the previous generation. Everything about the interior. I like the digital gauge cluster, like in the center right here.
You can customize that too.
Okay, so like what kind of stuff? I also just saw that there's hill start assist, which I'm learning a lot about this truck. There's a lot more features than I thought there were on it. So it's got that, and then you said like an automatic braking thing.
Yeah, it's got, this truck pretty much has every option on it except for the high idle switch, which we live in the South, we live in Nashville, Tennessee, so don't really need that here because it's never cold enough for that. It has everything from the engine block heater to the lane keep assist, which I told Josh already, that doesn't do that much for you when the truck is about 8 feet wide and most traffic lanes are 8.5, so you're constantly bumping the line and it's constantly telling you that you're going outside the lines of the lane. So
you feel it, but it's, for those of you that haven't driven like recent GM trucks and SUVs, the seat vibrates, like it just vibrated when I went over the left line. So it vibrates on whatever side of the seat like you're going over the line, which is a cool feature. I wouldn't say like it's annoying because it's only happened to me a few times, but it's a nice thing to have, especially like when you're parking.
Oh yes.
That helps a lot. And then also, like you told me, the automatic braking, so they're making out in front of us.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that on the GoPro, but
they're just going at it a little bit.
Should I hit the light bar?
Yeah, do it.
So that's another thing, he's got a light bar on it.
Yeah, it's a custom tucked light bar. It's a 30-inch light bar tucked behind the grille, so if you're just looking at the truck from an angle, you probably won't see it because the grille's chrome, so the chrome reflectors
Yeah.
of the light bar kind of blend into the grill, so you're not really going to see it sitting back there unless you flip it on. And then the switch is custom up right next to the sunroof bar.
Yeah.
So it's not like a bright red glowing switch or whatever.
It's a clean install.
Yeah, it's a very clean install, which is really important to me when it comes to all these things, like the small little touches, like the billet aluminum pedals, or like the custom switch installed, they pulled up to the top instead of just putting it by the wheel, or the WeatherTech formats, or the fact that they wrapped the whole truck in 18 and it all matched right.
It's just done well
overall.
The tint, it's a good darkness. It's not too much. I don't know. It's a nice package overall, and it's comfortable, and even with the lift, it's really, really smooth, which I like a lot. The only thing that I've noticed so far, really, is that the visibility out of the rearview mirror is
it's not so great.
It's basically non-existent.
Yeah.
Because you have basically like 2 inches on the mirror that you can see over the bed between the roof of the cab, which like you can still see. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of those things that, me personally, not daily driving this truck, it's just one of those things I noticed, but I'm sure you can adjust to it.
You can adjust the mirror and you get better with it, but at the same time, I will give you that, especially since I have the power sliding rear glass on this truck, and I've added my company logo to the back, which is not the dotted see-through. It's already a short window in the middle, and it gets even shorter when you add something you can't see through. So that is one thing I wish they changed, is that they made the overall window taller, especially with how tall the cab of this truck is. They could have made it taller, and the actual glass is really thick, but they blacked out, like hard blacked out a good bit of it.
That's just something with GM, I guess, though, that I've noticed, like especially with Camaros. I'm sure you've probably heard the visibility.
The really small
horrible.
rear windows.
Yeah, the visibility is terrible. But just for that reason alone, I could never buy one.
Yeah,
I just can't see out them. But this isn't bad, and you have these giant tow mirrors too.
Yeah, you have the dual mirrors on the side, and I have those adjusted for pretty much where I can see if you come from 100 yards back all the way up to you're sitting right next to my truck, because this truck does have very large blind spots.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's probably a little bit exaggerated too with the like deflectors you have over the window, like the rain guards, I guess. I don't know what the exact name for those would be.
I don't
I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about.
Going a little fast.
Yeah, just moving with traffic. I'm not speeding. No, but it's nice. The interior, the wheel's super nice. I mean, obviously, this is like as top of the line as you can get with one of these, except for, you said, the high idle switch.
Yeah, the high idle switch is the only thing missing off the truck.
Which, I mean, like you said, you don't really.
We don't need it down here.
As far as like the drivability goes, I mean, one thing I talked about is the cabin noise they refined, but the steering as well. I've driven one other Duramax, which was the generation before this, and the steering just felt really numb. This still, like, compared to what I normally drive, it's not like tight by any means, but you still, like, you know where you're going. It's not super floaty, which is nice. And then also along those lines with the previous generation, the brake just did not feel good at all. And this, it's just something with diesels I've noticed overall. The brake feels a little like you really have to put your foot in it, but once you hit that spot, there's a lot of braking power where you need it. But this just feels, I guess, more confidence inspiring. Going off of that, the throttle also feels good. With these trucks and the amount of torque that you have, you really don't have to do much to get it moving. But that's just something that I noticed coming from like performance cars to this. And I've always been a big fan of trucks. I like sitting up higher, having a commanding view of the road, and with the lift on this as well, you can see over basically everything. And the only thing that I don't like about that is whenever you pull up behind like smaller cars at lights, you probably won't be able to see them, but I haven't noticed that as a problem so far driving it, which
this truck also has the front sensors in it, so if you get too close, because the truck sits over 7 feet tall at the top, so it's very intimidating when you pull up behind somebody. Also, judging distance off your front bumper is very difficult, so it has the front, I think there are the ultrasonic sensors in it, and it'll pull up on the gauge cluster, gauge at how far you are, starting at 4 feet, and then it gets closer, so you know if you're about to bump into somebody when you get real close. Because you can think you're only like 4 feet off, but you might be 10 feet, or vice versa. You think you're 10 feet off, and you might only be 4 feet off.
And you know, the truck just has a lot of good features like that too. And one thing I just noticed while you're talking is that in the digital gauge cluster, you have a little icon telling you the speed limit, which is nice. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of modern cars have, but you know, you're paying a lot of money for one of these, and it's nice that you have all the features to back up the price. And the infotainment with these also, I've noticed, is pretty good. And The screen's nice, it's clear. There's not a lot that's left to be desired. You're not wondering where your money went with the price tag of a truck like this, which is good. There's like 10 menus that you can look through. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can also go through and look. You can have your nav pulled up on there, so you can have a little menu or a little map up on there. You can have your phone.
So it
pulled
takes
up,
up
there.
just like the middle screen right here.
Yeah, if you hit the left arrow, other one. Yep, that one. You can see all the different options that you have. You have music, audio, phone, nav, and then settings. It's like you can put a little map up on there. It'll pull up the roads around you, or if you've got a nav running, it'll keep it right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like if you're looking for a particular road, instead of looking right here, you can just look right at that.
Yeah.
It's the small things that just make it like that much more user friendly.
Yep.
Like it may not seem like a big deal to anybody, but if you're in a very unfamiliar area, as I often find myself doing shows, not having to stare back and forth all the time, just looking straight down is really convenient.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, another thing that I noticed coming from a 2011 to this is the ability to add hot cues up here. So different menus that you can add different basically gauges up here of what you want to go to. So you have your main menu, which obviously has all your different options, but say you're in a particular one and you want to switch. Say I use my maps, my phone, and my audio the most, so they're up here. All you have to do is tap it.
Okay, so you have like shortcuts
and
it'll program.
Yeah, you can program them in to go wherever you want. So I have my audio take me straight to the Bluetooth media.
Yeah, that's
because that's what I'm on most.
And it's all like, it's simple. There's not a ton of buttons up here. It's like you said earlier with a bunch of stuff on the truck. It's basically idiot proof.
Yeah.
And it all just works. And I love the look of this whole center stack too, and all the toggle switches. And you have this huge area right here that you can put stuff in. I'm charging my drone right now, which is nice. This has two?
No, just one.
Just one outlet.
It has 5 USBs though.
Jeez.
It has a very. I say that it has enough USBs for everybody in the truck, but also, me myself, sometimes I have like 6 devices in the car, so I've used every outlet in the truck before. As crazy as that sounds, like on a show, I ran basically my entire laptop broadcast setup out of the truck.
Yeah, no,
like off truck power, and it has the built-in Wi-Fi in it, and I pay for that. So it's got the 4G LTE connection straight from AT&T. It's got the full OnStar pack on it. So if I do have a check engine light or something come on, I can just call them and run the code. I have the code reader in my car, but sometimes it's easier for them to just run it, or it's got the remote start via the app, and it's got a bunch of really nice features that are just like, yes, you don't need them, but when you pay what you pay for this truck, it's really nice.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, like a lot of people, especially outside of the United States, don't understand. They see the price tag on these, and they're like, why would you ever pay that much money for a truck? But it's like, it's a luxury vehicle.
Oh, this would rival some Audis and different cars like that on like the interior and whatnot.
And features.
And features packs. Like when you think about it, like when you step up from, for say, the SLT to this, I know you can get all these options on an SLT, technically speaking, but why would you? But like the simple things, like having the movable pedals or the cargo lights wrapped around the truck, so there's cargo lights in each mirror. This one just seems a whole lot more squared off, which I like. I love the look of this truck. The look of
this is so much better than previous generations, and like I'm not. People might think I'm brand loyal just because of like the amount of Mustangs I've had, and like I'm biased towards Ford, but like if I was getting a truck, I don't know if I'd consider an F-250 if I was getting a diesel, but like honestly this is probably what I would do. It's just, I think it looks the best out of the ones I've driven. It feels the best, and it's just nice overall, and they just look so good whenever they're modified like this.
As long as you do it right though.
Yeah, that's true.
I have a buddy of mine that I'm not going to name drop on the lift kit, but that lifted one very similar to this. It was a 16, and needless to say, the thing rides like a brick. Now there's a thing about 3/4 tons that everybody says you can tell whether a dime is on heads or tails when you drive over it. That's very true. They don't ride like 1500s, and that's everybody's common misconception is they're like, oh, you spent yada 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 getting a Denali, it should ride really nice. This rides the best out of any 3/4 ton I've ever like had, borrowed, or owned.
It's not bad at all.
But it still rides like a 3/4 ton truck that's made to tow, because I mean it can pull 14,000 pounds. I mean, it's designed to pull a lot of weight. The shocks are just a little bit stiffer naturally.
Alright, gonna get on a little bit.
Go for it.
How much throttle do you think I should give it?
As much as you want. I don't have a problem with it.
It moves.
Yeah.
It's not bad when you consider the weight. And I mean, it took a minute to spool up. But,
Yeah. I mean, there's turbos took a minute to spool, but
once it kicks in, though, it's
once you hit
pretty
about
quick.
2,500 RPM, you feel it in your chest when you go backwards.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
Yeah.
And with the other tune you're talking about on it, I'm sure that it would really feel.
Do you want to put the tune on it? We can
mean,
stop and put it on it.
If you want to,
I'm game.
let's do it.
Alrighty. It'll take about 2 minutes, but we can just
That's
load it
fine.
right in. I've got the programmer in my cab, so
Cool.
yeah.
We'll find a spot and pull over, and I guess we'll do that.
Oh yeah. Let's make a lot of horsepower.
Let's do it.
Just be warned, you will break the tires loose if you're not careful.
That's
I was
fine.
telling you about that.
Yep. I've done it before. Not in this.
Yeah.
But I've done it before. I kind of want to cut to the clip of the Terminator review where I almost bend it because I hit a bump and actually I'm just going to cut to the clip right
Yeah.
now. That was terrifying. I thought I was going to total that car,
Oh no.
which it's totaled now, but
Oh,
not
yeah.
for me.
Wait.
The turning radius is not the best. I had noticed earlier whenever we were pulling out of that parking lot,
Yeah, it's
Um,
not great.
but there's no one behind me, so I think I can just,
Yeah, you can just hook it.
yeah. Another thing I like is that they kept the column shifter.
Yes. I do not. I don't have anything against Rams and the fact that they put their shifter right down here on a knob, but that just does not keep the vibe of a heavy duty truck to me.
No, and
Like there's something about it. I like that this truck has the overdrive on it and it has the where you can manually lock it to
Yeah.
a certain gear at max, or if you shift all the way down, you can lock it into first gear.
yeah, I see
So-
that on here. There's like a manual option, and then I also noticed it has paddle shifters.
It does. Those are not paddle shifters.
Okay.
That's the volume and the seat
Really?
for the radio.
Huh.
I wish it had paddle shifters. That would
That's
be
an interesting,
so cool.
interesting design, making it feel like paddle shifters. Because I mean,
Yeah.
on Rams and stuff, they have like the buttons back here, but it doesn't feel like a paddle. But
Yeah. That's.
okay, now I feel that they're separate buttons.
Yeah. It's two separate
Okay,
buttons.
So that's volume. Okay, that makes sense. I actually like that.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's definitely different having them like that, and it took a little getting used to because they were buttons on my old truck as well. But I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those. It's one of those things that it's easier to grab a big switch than it is to grab a button.
Yeah, no, I get that. For what's done to the exhaust, which isn't too much, right?
No, there's not too much. It's
Yeah.
basically they just took, instead of the single pipe coming out the side, they just took it off as duals.
Okay. I mean, it sounds. You can hear it.
Oh, you
It's
can
not
hear it.
loud, but it sounds good. And
It just gives it a little bit deeper rumble to it,
Mhm.
and it lets it clear the exhaust out of the system faster.
yeah,
So that if I was towing something running at a higher RPM, which is what the truck's designed for, it's
Yeah.
gonna get the exhaust out faster.
yeah, it sounds good, and you can really hear the spool, which is my favorite part.
Oh, I love the turbo spool on this thing. Like, a little extra touch. They could have made it quiet. Like, it could be quieter
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to keep it quiet, but I love hearing it.
Oh yeah,
It's one of those things when you roll by, everybody knows.
there's a Raptor right there.
That's the new Raptor, isn't it?
Yeah, that looked. Whenever I drove that for my review, it seemed so big, and when we just drove past it, it looked tiny.
Yeah, it's all about scale. Like if
Yeah.
you jump in that from a normal 1500 size truck or F-150, it's huge.
Oh yeah.
But then you jump up another level of truck,
Mhm.
you go to this, and it's like, yes, the Raptor's still very wide, but this has a couple inches on it in width,
Yeah.
which doesn't sound like much, but when you're driving right on the line of how wide traffic lanes are,
Yep.
a couple inches makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And that's another good thing is that I talked about already, the steering feel. Whenever you go over the line or something, or if you need to adjust, you don't have to turn the wheel half a mile for it to adjust. You know, it's a little loose, like there's a little bit of play,
Yeah.
but you still feel it.
A lot of that
moving.
comes from the tires too.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
the rim, because there's so much meat on the tire,
Mhm.
that there's just a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it, not walk, but
Yeah, I know.
I guess
know what you
play in the tire
Yeah, yeah.
of where the tire will move a little bit on
flexes
the
a
rim.
little bit.
Yeah, it flexes a little bit,
Mhm.
which is good for certain things, like when you're rounding a corner or whatnot. It's nice that it flexes out a little bit.
Mhm.
It just keeps things a little smoother when you hit a pothole or whatnot.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit potholes in Nashville, especially being this big. You don't have room to like swerve around it.
Yep.
You just kind of got to go through it,
Mhm.
and it handles it like a champ.
Yeah.
And that's the reason those really big tires are nice. But
And I mean, you feel the weight of the truck whenever you're going around corners.
Oh, you
there's
feel
a
it
lot of
pulling
body
you.
roll, but it's not awful. back there.
I will say it manages much
Felt
better.
it a little bit, but
Yeah, it manages much better than some other 1500s like mine and a buddy of mine's that I've driven.
Mhm.
Just because the shocks are stiffer, so it's gonna manage it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it feels good as an overall package. Honestly, for the money, this is the way to go. One complaint I have heard with these trucks is from people that sit in the back whenever the heated or cooled seats are on, because these fans
Yeah, the fans.
blow the hot air out.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're driving it, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I mean, okay, I get the complaint there. And also, the thing that I will say still that I don't understand is why GM doesn't put vents in the back right here.
Mhm.
Like, they make aftermarket kits where you can put vents right here.
oh, it doesn't have any like climate control right here?
Nope,
Really?
does not.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's got enough power in the AC system to throw it back, and if you use the front vents, the ones that cool the glass, it'll throw up and over.
Okay.
And if you point these in the back, it'll obviously do it, but that is one of my biggest complaints, is that it does not have any climate control in the back. And yes, I get it, it's a truck,
Yeah.
but
I
also
feel like it should.
it should. I'm a big proponent of it should have something back there, just given, one, what it is, and two, how much the damn thing costs.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just like because I know you changed the tune, but the throttle response feels a little bit sharper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I feel it. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Get over these bumps, and then we'll go for it again. See if
Yeah.
the throttle feels different. Yeah. It feels much different.
You feel it?
Oh yeah. Definitely. It built boost quicker, and then it kicked in harder, I think. Yeah. I think I felt it. I don't know about you.
I think I felt it. I mean, I felt it before, but it's nice. Group that covers them. Yeah, you feel them let loose a little bit. Tires.
Oh, yeah.
Now you see.
I was
what I'm
60.
Yeah.
So
Now you see what I'm saying. If you can break the tires loose, if you're not careful when you do that.
it's fast for a truck. It's really fast for like a diesel, but just like as a car overall, it's fast, I think. So over your 1500, are you happy with the upgrade?
I am very happy with the upgrade. I will say, not being able to fit in every parking garage anymore, it's really inconvenient, but it's well worth it. I love the upgrade.
If you need like, what all do you even do? You do all kinds of stuff.
Do lighting, sound, staging, well, and then I sub-do out video, so if you ever need video, I'll probably end up calling Josh for you. But, event management, you name it. I basically do everything to deal with events. So bands will call me, I do DJs, corporate work, you name it, I have some like touch in it, just because there's all sorts of events. Like I have the Miss Junior High School and Collegiate America pageant, fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's
So,
my fun gig.
If you need anything like that done,
Yeah, let me
go
know.
ahead, give him a shout. But I guess as far as like the actual review goes, that'll do it.
Awesome.
So thanks for letting me drive it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do a video of Donnie's truck soon too, so it'll be
can
interesting to
compare 'em.
see the differences. Anyways, that review will be coming soon. Not once it has the lift. I'll probably do it before and after of that truck. But yeah, this was fun. I still stand by the fact that like I would get this if I was getting a diesel truck. So yeah, if you guys are looking for one of these, I think coming from the perspective of someone who uses it for what it was built for all the time, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. It does what it's built for very well.
There you go. So that'll be it. Thanks again to Jake. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.